Hi, I'm David Dobiesic. Here's the review team's honourable mention and unheralded books of 2020. Unheralded. Like a guy that's more than just a voice.
But we did want to go around and mention a few books that might have made our honorable mention that we didn't get the opportunity to throw in our top five if we didn't, make a seven-way tie like Steve and Derek. So we'll go around and do our. Sorry, we'll do our maybe a couple honorable mentions you had.
Okay.
We can start with Sarah this time, and we'll end with Todd.
So I gotta put in Savage Son. Have to do it. It nobody does character development like Jack Carr. It's not only just the main character that gets a lot of like work and detail. He does that to everybody, and that's every character in there has so much detail, so much amazing backstory, and it makes it unique for that. And then also just for Savage Son, we got into like a real deep, like, reading it, you could just feel it like in your chest, that fear the entire time, and just and that was just, it was a really neat reaction and just a neat feeling to go through, and it was terrifying to read it. And just, I think with any thriller book, like you go out and stuff, you're out on a walk and you see a van on the side of the road, like what the hell is that? But reading Savage Son, you just, everything you're questioning, you're like, what was that? Are they after me? What's going on? And you're just, it was a really good read. Great. I have to add that one for sure.
Nice. Did you have any other ones?
Just that one right now that I wanted to mention.
Okay.
So yeah.
Cool. Awesome. Thanks. Derek, what about you?
Well, besides 1 Minute Out, which we've already discussed, Blacktop Wasteland, phenomenal book, great book. But the other one, which I know Todd will like this, The Order by Daniel Silva. I mean, he's one of my favorite authors. I've been reading him for years. Kind of a controversial book because of the theme of it. A lot of people didn't like it. I liked it. Even though I'm Roman Catholic, I liked it. It makes you think. And Gabriel Allen is just a great protagonist. He's been through the whole series. I just love his work. And it's always, just a great read. He has plot twists and turns and stuff, but just the way he structures his books, so well done. So well done. You can see why he's lasted as long as he has, and he keeps getting better with each new book. So
yeah, it was
my honorable mentions.
It was a little bit of a departure for his normal stuff, but yeah, I absolutely loved it. I was surprised at kind of I wouldn't even say backlash, but the pushback on some of the themes and characters in there. And I was just like, I don't know, it was a fantastic book to me. It also, yeah, that was on. You'll see that come back around for my honorable mention.
Yeah. Well, speaking
what about
of that,
you, Steve?
Yeah, that was on mine as well. A lot of my honorable mentions you guys have already mentioned. 1 Minute Out, Into the Fire, Collateral, The Order as well. It pained me not to put a Gabriel Allen book in the top five. You guys know I'm a huge Daniel Silva fan. I think he's the best in the business. His writing is incredible. It was a bit of a departure, Todd, as you mentioned. I think it's also kind of a transition book. Right, they start talking about Gabriel moving on and maybe moving and some other stuff. So I'm holding out judgment on this book till I read the next one, because I think it's setting up what's going to happen with the series going forward. I'm with you. I didn't totally get the controversy, but I thought it was great. It just it's a wait and see for me. Right,
it makes you think. It makes you think.
Yeah. The other one, Jerusalem Assassin by Joel Rosenberg. I think he's another one that just writes amazing books, great thrillers, tons of action. I think it was the third in the series, and usually he does trilogies, but I think he said he's going to keep going with this one. Again, I want to see where it goes, but he just is another one where he seems to guess what's going to happen with world events before it happens. So it's bankable. You read it and then you go to the news and you say, all right, is this going to happen? And more often than not, he's correct. So I'll always read all of Joel Rosenberg's books. I think they're fantastic. And this one, Jerusalem Assassin, was right up there as well.
Definitely. What about you, Miller?
I have a few. I don't think I really need to say much about them. Near Dark by Brad Thor. Scott Harvath's one of my favorite characters. I think Lines of Lucerne is what got me started in the thriller genre. So I can't leave Scott Harvath out. Great character. Mitch Rapp for life, right? I'm a total Mitch Rapp ambassador. I love Mitch Rapp. I read him underway while deployed all the time. Love Vince and Kyle Mills stuff. Yep, I got my cards up here too.
Nice, yeah.
One you guys might not have read, Tom Clancy's by Mark Cameron's Shadow of the Dragon.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed this one. This is a Jack Ryan Sr. book. I've never been a huge fan of the extremely longer books, like traditionally that the Clancy books are. I'm starting to get into them a lot more. This one was full of action, even though it seemed like there wasn't gunfights. There was tons of stuff going on there, which I absolutely loved.
You consulted on that one, didn't you?
What?
Did you consult on that one a little bit?
Just a little bit. My wife actually makes an appearance in there inadvertently, talking about when you come home from deployment.
Yes, perfect. I was going to mention
the smell of the uniform, where she makes it wash you 3 times and put it in a Rubbermaid. That's exactly what my wife made me do, and that's what I told Mr. Cameron.
That's amazing, Miller. I'm not even joking. That's when I messaged you immediately. I go, this absolutely reminds me of you. And to hear you say that it's perfect, because literally the smell. I was like, that's Miller.
He and I, consulted a little bit, and I told him that's what my wife made me do, and it ends up in the book.
That's awesome.
A couple other ones that I really enjoyed. You guys talked about Total Power being eerily similar to what could happen in real life. Not quite as much. Red Dawn-ish, Rip Rawlings, great book. I thought it was very entertaining, even though it might seem kind of out of this world, kind of Red Dawn-ish. But what would happen, right? What would happen if that took place? And then finally, I'm going to give an author that I discovered for the first time this year, even though his books are not brand new. I really just discovered them this year. Matt Riley, Ice Station, the Scarecrow series. If you've never read any of the Scarecrow series, they were great. Area 7, Ice Station, Scarecrow Returns. Phenomenal books. They seem a little bit far-fetched at times, but I think he really paints a really good picture for you to just immerse yourself into his story. And I had no problem crushing through those books. And to be honest with you, I got most of these books today through Sandy at the Book Dragon shop in Stanton, Virginia. So if anybody's watching this and they're looking for an indie bookstore to use or catch up with, Sandy's your lady at the Book Dragon shop in Stanton, Virginia.
Shout out to Sandy. Yep.
Awesome. All right, Kashif, what about you?
Right, so I do have a couple of honorable mentions lined up. One of them I just finished reading like a week ago, I guess. It's Force No One by Daniel Charles Ross. So it just came out, I guess, not too long ago. And what I really enjoyed was it felt kind of a throwback to the Tom Clancy books. I haven't really read the original ones a bit, but I have read Rainbow Six and Without Remorse. So the way in this book, all the plot lines, they are decentralized, but at the same time, they all are following clues to the same end game, I would say. And this is, I'd say this is the one book where I was really expecting to despise a character. I was just ready to hate the character. And then the author just turns it right around. And I was like, wait, how did I not see this twist coming? It was very similar to, I would say, the Deep State twist, but I really loved it. So that was one for me. And of course, another I really wish I could have added on was Collateral, as we've all went along by Andrews and Wilson. Just the idea, because Red Spectre, it was a bit like they were chasing their tails and they ended up paying the price for it. And then this team member just rises up and they're like, you know what, we've had enough. So just how quickly they get into that without the authors, they realize that fans are just so emotionally involved in the story that they need to see a good resolution. So the way the authors just take us for a ride with the excellent action, the character development, and just the sheer authenticity of the world that they create. I can't get enough of that. I just recently got Sons of Valor on that galley, so I'm reading that as well. And you know what? You just can't go wrong with these guys. They rock. Simple as that. Yeah, those I would say would be mine. My honorable mentions, because I was just really sad I couldn't put Collateral on my top 5, but definitely they deserve to be in the honorable mentions at the very least.
Definitely. Cool. So I had a few, some have been mentioned already. The Order by Daniel Silva. I'm in the same boat as Derek on this. I thought it was a great book. So that made my honorable mention. Also, Jack Carr, Savage Son. That one is kind of a heartbreaker to not have in my top 5. Same with Deep State. I thought they were both amazing books. I couldn't figure out where to put them, so they made my honorable mention. A few that haven't been mentioned, The Wild One by Nick Petrie, I really enjoyed. I think Peter Ash is a really interesting character, and the fact that the book is set in Iceland and he has to get to Iceland, even though he's claustrophobic, was a very interesting way to start the book. Also, CJ Box, Long Range. Joe Pickett is, in my opinion, one of the most interesting characters, and I would still call it a thriller. It's kind of like a Western type thriller. Joe Pickett is just kind of a goofy, doofy character, but all the books have been super interesting, and I've really enjoyed those. And the last one, this one, I don't know if it'd be considered a thriller. The Lincoln Conspiracy. It's like a historical thriller. It's a history book, but it's also written like a thriller. And Brad Meltzer has done that over and over again. Yes.
It's one of my favorites. It was so good. It read like a thriller. It was so entertaining. And to hear the history behind the Pinkerton service and the Civil War and what was going on between the states, like Brad Meltzer killed this one. Like, he did a great job with this.
He's a great writer, and he brings history alive. I'll give it to you, Stu. I think it counts.
Okay, I didn't know. Yeah, I was like thriller, not thriller. So that.
Okay. All right, and those are my honorable mentions. Todd.
All right, I think everyone has hit my honorable mentions. I named my firstborn after Gabriel Alon, so clearly the Order was going to be on there. And really, all of these were I struggled when Hunter Killer slipped into 5th, but the Order, Savage Son, what else? Total Power. I mean, all the big names had fantastic books this year, and to me, I'm really looking forward to 21 because I think a lot of them were kind of those transition periods. So, just to kind of see how everything works out this year, I'm super excited for 21 as a thriller year. The author that I was my first introduction to them this year that I absolutely loved, Derek, you mentioned him, Ward Larson. Sarah, I think you would actually turn me on to him as well. I loved it. I loved Slatton as a character. The action scenes, particularly in Assassin's Strike, were just phenomenal. I mean, it was kind of start and stops. There was lots of anticipation, and you really were, once the action kicked off, you were already super tense and ready for it because there was just so much pressure and stress going on that I thought that was a cool mix up to a lot of the just shoot 'em up thrillers I had been reading. So I think Ward did awesome, and I can't wait. He is officially retired and is writing full time, so I'm really looking forward to what he tosses out coming up. But other than that, yeah, all the big names you guys have mentioned throughout have been awesome. Blacktop Wasteland, I may throw that back in later. I am going to sneak that in. That was, again, the one that I missed. I'll own up. I missed it.
I need to read it too, so I haven't read it yet.
There's time to make amends.
There is. I got a week.
Well, the Dark Corners of the Night. I've had that book. I got it from Megan. I went and got it signed at a bookstore, and I just haven't gotten around to read it. But after you guys saying that, I'm going to put that thing on the top of the list to read and hopefully get the wits scared out of me, because the first 2 books were awesome.
Sheaf and Miller and Todd and Steve and Sarah and Derek and myself and our fearless leader, James, BTS Designs. Thank you to the Best Thriller Books review team for coming on today and talking about their best books of 2020. And you can find us online. So we will talk to you soon.